Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us for this Planning and Zoning Commission meeting. For the record, it's January 8th, 2026, and the time is 6:30 p.m. I'll proceed with the roll call, so council or commissioners, when I call your name, please say here or present. Chairperson Shauna Verrett.
Here.
Vice Chairperson David Horwath. Here. And Commissioner Linda Tom. Here. Bobby Barnes.
Present.
Eric Beilstein. Here. Joe Markling.
Here.
And Bobby Bailly, who is not present. With 6 members of the Planning and Zoning Commission present, a quorum is declared.
I'd like everybody to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Can you hear me? It's green. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. I would like to welcome Joe Markling. He is on our committee. He was appointed, and this is his first meeting, so welcome, and thank you for being here. The first thing we have on the agenda is our citizens and guest forum, and there are nobody signed up to speak tonight, so if you are here and would like to speak, we open that up to you. Looks like nobody has signed or would like to speak, so we're going to move on to our consent agenda tonight. All of the following items are considered to be routine by the Planning and Zoning Commission. There will be no separate discussion on these items and will be enacted with one motion. Items may be removed by the council or committee member by making such requests prior to a motion and vote. Are there any commissioners that would like to move the October 9th, 2025 Planning and Zoning meeting minutes from consent agenda to consideration? All right, does anybody would like to move that? Can I get a motion to approve the minutes of the October 9th, 2025 Planning and Zoning meeting minutes? Oh, and all in favor, please say aye.
No,
All
we need a
opposed?
second. Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry. All opposed? The consent agenda is approved. And we'll move on to our consideration and discussion items. And so we'll start with item number 5, consideration and possible action recommendation of approval for the Post Oak subdivision Phase 1 parliamentary plat establishing a total of 65 lots for the applicant and property owner FAR Projects SPV LPC. I'll turn it over to Jessica now.
Thank you. Good evening, Madam Chair Shauna Verrett, Vice Chair David Horwath, Commissioners, and attendees. My name is Jessica Relucio, City Planner for the City of Fair Oaks Ranch. This item, number 5, begins on page 6 of the agenda packet, and the presentation begins on page 22. The purpose of the meeting is for Planning and Zoning Commission to consider and take possible action making a recommendation to the City Council to conditionally approve the Post Oak Subdivision Phase 1 preliminary plat. First, here's a brief background of the project. The area is located north of the intersection of Rolling Acres Trail and Ammon Road, as shown here in the highlighted yellow area. The zone is neighborhood residential, which is a minimum of 1 acre single-family lots. And there's a public improvement district in the area. This is one of 4 phases, and the total Post Oak subdivision is about 344 acres. Next is a summary of the preliminary plat. A part of the review criteria, we have the development agreement, which incorporates the 2014 subdivision Chapter 10 regulations, as well as enhanced requirements from the UDC 2025 amendments, which includes minimum lot frontages, drainage and erosion control standards, and tree mitigation for protected trees over 18-inch diameter at breast height. and there's a total of 65 lots, of which 60 are single-family residential 1-acre lots and 5 easement lots. Lastly, staff recommends the approval of Post Oak Subdivision Phase 1 preliminary plat with the following conditions. Some of the conditions are aesthetic, meaning a cleanup of the text, and other conditions are design edits, meaning it's possibly a layout change, which I will cover here. 1, the developer shall correct the mayor's signature block to include subdivision to state Post Oak Subdivision Phase 1 on sheets 2 through 7. This is an aesthetic edit. 2, the developer shall edit general notes and remove private streets from note 1 on sheet 1 since there are no private streets. This is also an aesthetic edit. 3, the developer shall revise block 7, lot 6, street frontage length of about 98 feet to meet the minimum required of 120 feet, and this will be addressed on sheet 2. This is a design edit, which the applicant states has already been fixed, and it was just a program calculation issue. 4, the developer shall label lot 21 as Greenbelt and designate, have the location of the detention pond area there, and mark it as drainage easement. Lot 21 is still missing a label on sheets 3, 4, and 5. These are aesthetic edits. 5, developer shall address all comments and obtain approval of the stormwater management plan from the engineering manager. This is a design edit, and the applicant is aware on how and if it will change the plat. 6, to state under a new section, temporary easements, or under general notes, that temporary easement shown hereon is granted for construction and related purposes such as drainage easements, and shall terminate upon completion of construction and acceptance of improvements. Upon termination of the temporary easement, the easement area shall be restored to a condition reasonably similar to its pre-construction state. Then remove the document number noted under the legends table on each sheet. This is also an aesthetic edit, and it's just to cover certain areas for the construction phase of Phase 1. All comments will be addressed by the final plat review. And with that, this concludes my presentation. Staff and the engineer of the plat, Matt Geisweit, is here available for any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Jessica. I appreciate that. Do any commissioners have any comments or anything they would like to discuss? Yes, Bobby.
Yes, I have a question for you. Is this not going to be a gated community?
I don't believe it is, no. All the streets are going to be public streets.
Okay, because I had understood all of our developments from some period onward were gated.
No, and that is
Okay.
up to the developer.
Okay, you're right. I'm just asking.
On item number 5, you say developer shall address all comments, and you said it's an edit, but
For
what are
this,
those comments?
for the
Substantive of design?
5, what's on here?
Mr. Beilstein, is your,
You're on.
How's that, better?
better? Yes, thank
The
you.
question was on number 5. You said just under edits, but it said that it's notes from, about the stormwater management plan.
Yes, so that is, once all of those items are addressed and approved by the engineering manager, then that comment would be completed.
So my concern was the other ones are, we have the wrong signature, we have some little things, but just how substantive are the comments? Are they in design nature? I'm serious, they could change the design of, that's,
It
this
may-
one seems like we went over kind of fast of,
It
That's what I
may
was concerned.
possibly, we don't foresee any major concerns or major changes being done. And then any other edits that would be done as far as design would still come back as part of the final plat. And I would, if that's correct, Lee, would you like to add?
Just to kind of give some clarification, a lot of these comments are really for the hydraulic and hydrology calculations. They provided a lot of the data, they just didn't provide enough supporting data to support how they got to that point. So there's just a lot of information that they're gonna provide as a backup to how they got those calculations. So that was just part of those comments, to speak in general.
If they can prove the calculations work, the design is okay.
They have the
They just have
design,
to give the justification.
correct. They have how they got from A to C, but didn't show B, so to speak. So that's where I'm looking for, B. How did you get to that point? And some other information that they'll provide as supporting backup.
Thank you.
I was going through and using this key on sheet 1 of 7, and just trying to figure out where each one of these drawings show up and how they interact. Well, I happen to notice that the match line, the west match line on sheet number 3 references itself.
Sheet 3 of 7,
Yeah,
and it says match line D, sheet 3 of 7. Yeah, so that would be just a general admin cleanup.
yeah, that's correct. The same thing happened on another one. Sheet 6 of 7,
That one is 6 of 7, yes.
and it's the southernmost match line.
Yes, correct. It should state 5 of 7.
One other thing. We have one entrance on Ammon Road, and there's a second entrance coming into the, after the Ammon Road, she makes a turn. Is it necessary to have two entrances to a subdivision when you start selling the place and there's houses being built there?
That is more of a technical question that we can ask the project engineer about with Pape Dawson. Currently, though, it's just phase 1, and we have these lots and this entrance here being proposed.
Okay, well, what I'm saying, though, is that, is there some sort of a legal requirement? You have to have two entrances when you start selling the places and people are actually living there?
I can defer. I would have to look into that unless one of my colleagues has the answer
Yeah,
for
are
that.
you referring to the fire code where it states that once you hit a certain amount of houses that you are required to have a secondary entrance?
Yes, that's basically it.
Yeah, similar to what we had for Oak Bend, I believe. Yes.
That's numeric, not based on sales, but how many?
Yeah,
Well-
so whenever you hit a certain amount of lots, then you're required to have a secondary entrance for fire code. I, don't quote me on it, but I think it's 35, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so the secondary entrance is required for fire code. I don't have the specific fire code, but it is. And again, if I remember the code correctly, it is for the designated lots that essentially they had to, if you exceed that number of C of Os, then at that point you need the secondary entrance. So they could construct the houses and have up to that certain amount of number, but it won't initiate until you actually have occupancy in those houses. That's where it triggers the secondary entrance requirement. So they can have 110 houses built, but only have 25 occupancies and still only need one entrance. It's not until you meet that threshold. I believe it's 35, but don't quote me on it. But yes, that would require the secondary entrance.
I assume that road that is set up, there's a turnaround on it in these drawings. Could you find out what
Yeah.
the trigger point is?
At this point, we don't have the construction plan, so at the conclusion, or once the preliminary plat is done, and then we go to the next phase, is the final plat and construction plans. At that point, we'll have more information as far as what the engineer is proposing.
There is a trigger point somewhere along the way.
Correct. Yeah, and I
Thank you.
believe it's 35, but I can get the number and let you know.
That's fine.
Anybody else have anything to ask or discussion? All right, well, with that, we'll make a motion, and can I get a motion to recommend approval of the preliminary plat for Post Oak subdivision Phase 1 with the following 6 conditions that have been stated by Jessica? Joe makes the motion. Can I get a second?
I'll second it.
Are there any further discussions or comments?
This was originally prepared, the original plat concept was prepared in 2014. Means that this will be constructed under the zoning rules. We didn't have zoning at that time, or what was in force in 2014. Is that correct?
For this, in the development agreement, Post Oak is following that 2014 subdivision.
This is just a preliminary. We get a final plat later.
Yes, there will be a final plat coming back.
The number of houses is 30. Is verified.
30? Okay,
30.
thank you.
All right, I'll call for a vote. So all in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed?
I
Say
voted
nay. You said
aye.
aye. Oh, I didn't hear you. I'm so sorry. Okay. So item 5 is approved. Now we'll move on to item 6, and this is consideration and possible action recommending approval of the Post Oak subdivision Phase 1 tree removal and preservation plan. I'll turn this over to Ithany.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Good evening, commissioners and attendees. I am Ithany Lobwick. I'm the Environmental Program Manager for the City of Fair Oaks Ranch. I'm here to present the consideration item for the possible action recommending approval of the Post Oak subdivision Phase 1 tree removal and preservation plan. And for your information, it's found on page 26 of your packet, item number 6. So this is just some background introduction on the preliminary plat establishing the Post Oak subdivision Phase 1. It was submitted on the 15th of December 2025. Along with it was the tree removal preservation plan. As you already heard from Jessica, there's 60 family residential 1 acre minimum lots and 5 lots for designated drainage easements. So again, it was already stated, but the Post Oak development is vested under the city's previous subdivision ordinance. So that would be Chapter 10, Article 3, Section 6 of the Tree and Habitat Protection, which states that it shall be unlawful for any person to remove, destroy, or cause the removal or destruction of any tree which is 9 caliper inches in size or larger, which is a protected tree, and which is located in an undeveloped tract of land within the city limits or the ETJ, without first submitting a tree removal and preservation plan with the preliminary plat. Additionally, for new construction on any undeveloped tract of land, a tree removal and preservation plan identifying the location, species, caliper, approximate canopy coverage of all healthy trees which are 9 caliper inches in size or larger when measured at 4.5 feet above the ground shall be submitted with the preliminary plat, and any city Any heritage tree which is 24 inches in caliper size or larger must go to city council for approval to be removed. Furthermore, the subdivision, the Post Oak subdivision has an additional development agreement which includes stronger tree mitigation requirements to maintain both the tree cover of the city and the rural character of the city of Fair Oaks Ranch. Article 3, Section 301B of the development agreement states that the developer shall be bound by and submitted an approval tree plan reflecting the mitigation of one 2.5 caliper inch tree for every 18-inch caliper tree, with two 24-inch caliper tree that is removed. You have to address any tree islands within the designated right-of-ways. The removal of trees 24 caliper inches and larger, which are heritage trees, will require 3 mitigation trees to be planted of 2.5 caliper inches for each tree removed, and this is in accordance with the previous subdivision guidelines of the ordinance. Additionally, any minor amendments to the tree plan can be approved administratively. So the ratio is 3:1 for heritage trees to be removed and replaced with 2.5-inch trees. There are 55 heritage trees to be removed. All of them are live oaks. The ratio for protected trees, which are 18 to 24 inches in caliper size, is a 1:1, and there are 93 trees to be removed of these. Most of them are primarily live oak, but there are a few post oak, 1 red oak, blackjack oaks, and a few cedar elms. So the grand totals are here on the slide. 55 trees are to be removed that are heritage, 93 protected trees, so that's a grand total of 148. Again, those are the 3:1 ratio for heritage trees, 1:1 for protected, which brings a grand total of 165 trees to be replanted to replace the heritage trees that are removed, 93 for the protected, with a grand total of 258. There is a note on the tree, the Exhibit A, Sheet T1, that states that all the trees that are to be replanted are going to be located on 4 trees per lot on 64 lots, with an additional 2 trees to be planted in the green space or drainage easements to meet these requirements. So staff has reviewed the tree removal and preservation plan, and it has concluded that all protected and heritage trees to be removed have been identified on the tree and removal preservation plan. They are solely located within right-of-ways or drainage easements, meeting the requirements of the previous subdivision guidelines. The developer has additional stronger tree mitigation requirements of replanting 1 caliper 2.5-inch tree for every 18 to 24 inches, which they were not bound to before under the previous subdivision guidelines. Therefore, staff make the recommendation to approve the tree preservation plan as long as they have conformance with the previous subdivision ordinance of Chapter 10, Articles 3, Section 6, and the development agreement.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Do we have any commissioners that have comments?
I've got one, just because I can't tell the distinction. I would like to know where the heritage and off-site trees are removed. That is, I can't see the difference between that red and the red for the heritage and non-exempt trees removed. There's 2 shades of red, and honestly, I can't tell there's 2 shades on this diagram. Can you point out where these bigger trees are located that they're wanting to remove?
So predominantly the one that you're looking at, can you pull up the Exhibit A?
I mean, I expanded it on my iPad and everything, and I can't see the difference
I also
between
had
the 2 colors.
a very tough time.
Can't see it either.
There's only one off-site, and it's located in the drainage easement, which is located on.
If it was off-site, it would have been in the purple where they say off-site trees.
Correct.
Okay, well, they have a code here.
Yes, they also have an orange one. Is that what you're referring to?
No, it's below the orange and above the blue.
Yeah, they look
Where are
very
those
similar color.
trees?
Can you zoom? Yeah. Yeah.
I'm on
Yeah, sheet
page
T
29,
3.
page 29 of 45. Oh, okay. Yeah, but I'm not asking for the purple, I'm
There's-
asking for this other red.
There's one pink, which is down on the dotted blue line, which is on page 31. There's one pink there,
Where?
right here.
It's,
But that's the red.
No,
no, it's the pink. It's very hard to tell.
that one right, go down to the dotted lines over to your right. Yeah, that's the pink.
That's the pink.
The other
Okay,
one's
and they're gonna remove this tree?
Yes.
And that's the only one that's to be removed?
Off-site or within a drainage easement?
What shade is this pink?
I'm not sure if I understand the question.
No, it looks like on this other map, there's another pink, if you want to call it pink, on the next page, on page 32. Where I can't tell that, this pink versus the other reds. I can't tell the codes. I can't. I would swear that those codes were the same. Okay.
Sure. Yes, you may.
Couple pinks
I'd like to speak in a minute.
or orange?
Have you come up with this?
Paul, we can't hear you, Paul. You can maybe grab the microphone?
I didn't plan on speaking, I was just trying to, sorry, I'm Paul Schrader, I'm with ESP Associates. Developing here, I mean,
The mic needs to be
Development.
closer, sorry.
Engineering for Development, thank you, I'm standing over there. Anyway, just to help you understand a little bit better, the red trees are the ones that I've highlighted in yellow, and there are 50 being
And
removed.
that's these right here.
24-inch and larger.
But there's not just one, there's 24.
There's 54
of those.
on site. But there's only one that's off-site technically and in a drainage easement to be removed.
Okay. So it's basically most of those red.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. Yeah, all of the red.
Okay,
Yeah, it's
so
mostly
we-
found on sheet T2.
So there's 54 trees to be removed. They're heritage.
Correct. That are
Okay.
technically on the lots
Right.
or in right-of-ways, and then one that's off-site in a drainage easement.
Right, so so you add
So
that
it's-
one in.
It's
56.
55 total,
Okay,
yes.
55 total, okay.
I'd just like to speak further if I can.
Can Paul
Yeah,
speak for a
absolutely.
moment?
Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt you, I just.
You're okay.
No, you're absolutely, you can, yes, please go up to the mic and you can speak. State your name and are
Correct.
you,
Again, my name is Paul Schrader. I'm an engineer and a surveyor for those of y'all I haven't met. I work for ESP and Associates and have platted several lots here in Fair Oaks. Have brought numerous tree plans to the city, and I'll have to say this one shocks me. They're wanting to remove 54 heritage trees, which has been a big argument on this project site for the last 20 years of losing big trees in a high-density development. Now we have a low-density development and losing a lot of trees. In all of, I did the engineering for this developer in Frontgate, Elkhorn, and Sutterfeld, and all of those developments together didn't remove 54 trees, 54 heritage trees. There's more than 54 trees being removed, but the concern is the heritage trees. The development across the street from this development, Stone Creek Ranch, is 300 acres. It didn't remove 50 heritage trees. I think that there should have been a better effort to save a lot of these trees. I've identified 12 of them that could easily be saved, that are in low fill areas, or could be saved with putting wells around the trees and not just wiping out the trees just because they're in an easement. I would very much encourage y'all to recommend to staff that they go back and take a look at that, moving into the final plating process, and see if there can be some minor adjustments made to some of this design to save these trees. I submitted a plat similar to this, about the same 65 lots, about the same area in this same location, and we were removing 12 trees. So I know it can be done. It's just not the easiest thing. We went through quite a few adjustments before we got down to 12 trees. So I would very much encourage that that's done. The ordinance does allow them to remove these trees. They're in easements, they're in right-of-ways. Ordinance says take them out. But it also says y'all have to approve it. So therefore, y'all have to decide was prudent design used to do this to comply with the ordinance. It shouldn't be just, you know, hey, this is where we want the road, so let's take the trees out. And I'd encourage that effort to be made. There's also heritage trees in here that they are not taking out. They're preserving. They're not really preserving, but they're in the lots. There's nothing in the city's ordinance that protects these trees once the lots are platted. So I would encourage some kind of, we did it in in Elkhorn on a couple of lots and a few in Front Gate, where the developer put a restriction on those lots to save those trees so that the builder couldn't take them out. These are 1 acre lots. There's plenty of room for a house and protect the oak trees. So I would encourage that from staff also. I kind of blew through everything pretty fast, but that was really my point of, there's a way to protect some of these trees, and I think there should be an effort made to do that. I don't have an interest in these trees or the land or anything else, but we've worked so hard for the last 20-plus years preserving trees in Fair Oaks that I just hate to see these taken out so easily. Okay, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Paul. I appreciate that.
If I can follow on with that, and I thank you, Paul. It's very important to understand that we are a tree city and we have that certificate for trees, that we value our trees very much. I just saw the city of Fair Oaks watering at night some of our trees on Fair Oaks Parkway because of the drought. And I'm just going, there's a lot of effort in preserving the nature of Fair Oaks Ranch, which is our tree city. And that's why I was having trouble trying to locate between the two colors, because I was wondering if they're on the streets. I remember bringing the question up on Elkhorn Ridge, can't you just curve a street to kind of avoid something, or put an island there, or do something so that it's aesthetic and you get the benefit of the shade, if nothing else, especially with 100-degree heat in the summer. It's very beneficial for the asphalt and the length of how long it will last. So I'm thinking some creativity needs to be applied to this plat.
Can I speak to the one tree that's the off-site tree that you were
Sure.
asking me about?
Can you please state
My
your
name is Matt Geistweit. I am the design engineer for the Post Oak subdivision. I work for the developer. So the one tree that's in pink, and granted the colors are hard to see here, I agree. That tree is actually in the extension of a future road. And so it's in a future right-of-way. It's just where we are taking a water line to tie into the to tie to the subdivision to the south. And so that tree will be within a future right-of-way. That's why that one was being removed, and we were working around that. Now, it's a beautiful piece of property. If you were to go out, there's beautiful trees all over the place. I've had the privilege to walk some of it. And honestly, that's what makes it the charm, or has a draw for the developer to develop it, and why they came and did the development agreement for a density, or for a less density subdivision from what was originally approved. And has been the spirit and the agreement all the way through. This is just the fruition of that plan, and unfortunately, we have to have streets that serve lots, and there's improvements that have to be constructed to design, to serve these homes. There will be trees that have to be taken out as part of that, unfortunately. Trees and tree islands are difficult from a traffic point of view, because by the time we widen the road for the length of the design speed to build an island around those trees and to build an island that's big enough for those trees, we end up taking out more trees on the periphery of the road and widening the right-of-way. And so it's there's a balancing act there, that's true, but it's one where we, in this case, decided to keep the roads narrower. Now, whenever we're working with the engineering team on, going through and looking at the plans, we'll take another pass and see in some of these areas where there's, where we're showing grading, to see if maybe we revise the street design to see if we can save a few of those trees in the periphery, where it's not, where they're not in the right-of-way. The trees that are in the right-of-way, where the pavement's going to be installed, or where they're too close to the pavement in the clear zone of the road, which is a design requirement by, traffic engineers and traffic standards. We don't want trees too close to the road because that's a safety hazard as well. So we have taken care of, trying to accommodate and save as many trees as we can. And part of the trees that are being removed are also in detention basins that we're designing to manage stormwater runoff and to mitigate, flooding problems that may be caused if we didn't detain from that water. And so when you're particularly on the upper left side of the page along the north-south leg of Almond Road, we've got a detention basin up there that we tried real hard to make the design work where we could maybe leave some of those trees in the basin, but unfortunately we need the volume of the basin, so we have to take out the trees, and it's just a design requirement of how the calculations came out to make sure that we were detaining enough storm water. So I think it's a beautiful property, and there's trees all over the place, and I think that adds value to how these homeowners are going to be able to build, beautiful homes that are in the spirit of the community on this property. And I think this tree plan accommodates that vision. And I'm happy to answer any other questions on that. To make blanket statements of, and comparing this subdivision to other subdivisions, and numbers of trees is kind of hard, right? Because depending on how dense the trees were in this subdivision, or, compared to density of trees in this subdivision, and how the concept plan lays those things out, it's apples and oranges. So happy to answer any other questions that you guys might have on the tree plan itself.
How many heritage trees are in the easement areas that are not in personal lots? How many heritage trees are left by the developer in that area?
That are in easement areas but not in personal lots?
Like, yes.
Just like in just right-of-ways or drainage easements. I could probably, what you're looking for on this plan would be ones that are just right outside the right-of-way, and
Well, because it seems like the heritage trees that are left are all in residential lots.
correct.
And so there again, residents could take out those heritage trees at their discretion if they need to put in or for building or whatever.
Right, and
So we
how,
would eliminate those heritage trees as well.
but that's how the city designed the ordinance, right? To be able to, once a resident comes in, to give them the flexibility to work with the trees. I mean, that's how the regulation was designed to work. So the tree plan is set up so that we try and work with the land, minimize impacts. It's a 1 acre minimum subdivision, so it's not a density subdivision. So there is space on the lots for them to be able to work around trees and work within the spirit of what the ordinance allows, which is a homeowner, a builder to go in there and work within the trees to, have a beautiful home.
Go ahead.
Mr. Markle, we can't hear you.
I'm sorry. I was saying it would be easier to comprehend this if we eliminated the colored dots of the trees that were going to stay and just see the ones that were going to be removed, again, just for a visual.
Right.
It looks, when I look at this, it looks overwhelming because it's like, all these trees are coming up, but then it's like, okay, how many blues, how many greens?
Right, right.
So-
And I definitely get that. From a, I guess we'll call it an inventory point of view. What Ms. Loblack would probably like to see, as well as me reviewing the plans, is we want to typically see the full picture of the trees, and then we can, see which ones kind of we flip from what bucket to the other as we're designing things.
And I understand that this is the comprehensive view.
Yeah, but
It'd be
I-
nice to have oh, by the way, these are the ones that just removed, that are just going to be removed, so that,
Yeah.
'cause that's the ones we're focused on, I think, now.
Yeah, and maybe if, in future tree plans, when we come up here, the yellow dots, we make some version of red that's not so close to this other red that's hard to read. It's hard when you're printing. They only make so many colors that are different enough, but we can maybe look at how we can make it clearer for the next one around. Do you have any thoughts on that? Unfortunately, I think we kind of have to see the full inventory, so we can see what is and what isn't saved.
I mean, I would suggest that we see the full inventory and then a purple sheet and a yellow sheet and a red sheet. And I mean, it's easy to do on the computer, so we can understand the layers that went into this. But still say, I mean, I know we need to see the total inventory and the total of everything, but to see it in each individual color layer, I think would take some of the fear of seeing this with all this, and the first thing you think is, okay, I got to go in and figure out which one of these stay and which ones of these go, which ones are on lots, which ones aren't. That would just be my suggestion to
Right.
make
right.
it easier to digest
I
from
think-
where we sit.
I think from a presentation point of view, there's probably a way to do that in like Google Earth or something like that. From a plan view, I think it's not quite as simple. And also, it's also from a perspective of when we take this plan out to the field and hand this to a guy on a bulldozer, it's helpful for him to see like, oh, that tree's green, don't knock that one down, or guys that are marking it out. I mean, we want to give them a plan that they can also follow it, and wayfinding is good when you can see other point numbers around you.
But you
if you're out
paint the
there.
trees and the colors so he knows which ones to take out.
Right.
He's not
Just
sitting
paint 'em
there
the
reading
same
this
color.
map.
Well, what they'll do is they'll put protective fencing around the trees that are going to be saved. We won't just hand this plan to a guy on a dozer. That would be bad.
But I think the point is that the idea of layers is to help this commission.
Right.
Not the guy with the bulldozer.
Right. And I-
And to try to get a view, I completely agree that if we had layers, to put it in perspective, it's a lot of trees. And even
Right.
with the ordinance as is, a 2.5-inch tree is not going to be a 36-inch tree in 50 years. I mean, this significantly changes the landscape. And you're right, Fair Oaks is a beautiful city, and we've seen some subdivisions that have taken trees down, and maybe that's why we're here now, because it has maybe incorrectly affected, I like my lot, I love the trees on there, that's why I have that lot. And I think that, we can designate Tree City USA, but we have to live up to that. And if there's a way to save a tree that is in an easement, things like that, we certainly want to do that. It's a little late in the game on right-of-way, but those ones that are in drainage easements. But do you have a breakout of which is
I don't.
right-of-way versus
I don't
easement?
right
I mean,
now.
148 trees is a lot of trees. And if you look at the breakdown, these are not just
Right.
barely heritage trees. There are trees that are just, I don't know what they look like. I've not been on the lot, but just from a
Right.
size standpoint, impressive.
Yeah, I'm sure many of them are beautiful trees. So your concern is just saving as many as we can through the design
I think that's why we're
process.
here, because
Yeah.
as you say, and whether we agree or not of the idea of the trees on the personal lots, and that, you know, the ones that we have authority over, any one we can do. We've had someone who say that, you know, they've looked at it from a standpoint and maybe there's 12. 12 out of that is a lot better than, you know, 0 if that's possible. And I don't know if, you know, how much work has been done by staff or by the developer to really look hard. This is a hard sell, I think, to go with that many trees. It's just, and you're right, every lot's different based on density and
Right.
based on the layout, but this is a big, it's a big ask.
Have y'all looked at the least intrusive way for the heritage trees? Like, I understand like moving 20 feet one way might take out a couple more trees, but have you looked at the least intrusive method for saving the heritage trees?
Yes, I mean, and there are, if you move roads here or there, there's always, it's a give and take in either way. You know, that you're moving these things. There's not a way that you can thread a project through this type of area, or really anywhere in this part of, you know, the state where you won't be able to take a tree out. It's just not a real situation that we can have. Now, that doesn't mean that we can't try and, you know, we'll continue to like go through this process and try and save as many trees as we can, because trees, I mean, not only they're beautiful, but they create value, value for the homeowner, value for the community, and so that's a worthy thing to do. I mean, just today, a few hours ago, I was talking with a separate city to our south with their arborist about saving trees on another project and coming to a consensus on how to do that. And we do it every day, all the time.
I think there's something vastly different between taking out a 32-inch cedar elm versus a live oak, right? Like, there's vastly different about that. So if next to that heritage oak is a cedar elm that's being saved, look at that differently.
Yeah, I mean, if you've ever been on a road, yeah, I mean, the roads don't do little bends like that. It would be cool if we could, you know,
They
make
do. I grew up in the country.
Yeah, well, no, and I did too. But those kind of roads, like my brother hit a tree like that because it was on a road like that. Seriously, he did. I didn't.
texting?
But I mean, those are things that they're design standards. Like we have to, you know, curve this road at a certain radius. The tangent has to be this way because those are predictable traffic patterns. So it's really challenging to take a road and bend it around a tree or like create a little island. And that may be done on a lot of old roads, but that was maybe done before there were better standards like they are now. If I tried to do things like that, Lee wouldn't let me do it. So, yeah. So, I mean, and that's part of the reason. So the road layout, I mean, if there's things that we can try and do, you know, it's working towards, you know, just minimizing impacts on the periphery of the road.
I guess the hard time I think we have as commissioners is we don't know the iterations you've done, the different scenarios. So it's just a trust thing of, it sounds, you know, we're here to try to protect and to look at this long term. We don't know what kind of things. You're saying the right things. We just are trying to get that comfort level of saying, wow, those heritage trees, they don't get replaced.
I mean, I live on 10 acres. I have 6 heritage oaks, right? Like, died with the freeze and the drought and the snow, and like, that's devastating. Like, it's this gigantic tree that like is just gone.
Yeah.
So we live here for those, you know, we live here for a reason, right? The trees are part of it. It's what makes Fair Oaks. I think that's the hardest part.
I think if you could ask the engineer, Pape Dawson, if they built this in layers with the colors, I would think they had to, or somehow. I think it would be easier for us to digest if we saw, okay, here's the heritage that are going, and we could get down to looking at just those. And just see it in layers. I know we have to approve it probably in total, but to see it in layers would help me visualize it better and visualize the impact and maybe focus on a very small little piece over here of some mitigation, rather than feeling, I feel a little overwhelmed looking at this and trying to figure out what I should focus on and what I shouldn't, because it's a little overwhelming with all the different colors.
Right, so what I can tell you by looking at this tree plan, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's nine trees that are in the detention basin on the northwest corner of the property. And then the rest of the heritage trees are really in the right-of-way or right adjacent to the right-of-way in easements where there would be utilities. And those are the red dots, and the one pink dot where the water line is going.
So could you do things like water sleeves under the heritage trees for those that are in the water and utility easement, or?
It's difficult to execute that because these water lines, it's a 12-inch water line, so it's a water line that's in this, and if you were to bore a 12-inch water line, it goes in a 24-inch casing. And by the time you bore that underneath the tree, it's already done. So that's a difficult thing. These aren't irrigation lines. If it was irrigation lines, yes. The same with electrical duct banks that would run through here to serve the houses. I think Pernaus Electric is the purveyor here. You know, they don't want trees over their infrastructure because tree roots would come in and break apart lines over time, and it creates a maintenance problem for them, but also it's a safety thing where you might be exposing some of those lines and creating a hazard.
Sir, you're correct. The city's utility department prefer that these water lines not be installed underneath these
Right.
for future maintenance purposes.
Well, Paul had another good point. Once these lots are sold, we completely lose control over it. We meaning the city or the P&Z. And I sat here and looked at these places, and there's very few lots that don't have a heritage tree, the blue ones, somewhere near the center. Guarantee that you're going to lose a lot of those trees when the lots the building starts on the lots. Is there anything that you can do about that?
I mean, I think the way that the ordinance is written, it allows the builder to go work within the parameters of the lot. So, I mean, as far as things that I can do, I work within the ordinance. Now I will say on this too, when you think about the value of trees, so when you're a builder, builders see, particularly these people, will see trees, as Paul pointed out, trees as having a value. And if all you're concerned about, which these guys are concerned about more than that, but if all you're concerned about is just the value that you can extract from that tree, it makes much more sense for that tree to charge a premium for that lot, since that tree is a 30-inch oak tree on your lot. And really what I'm trying to say is that a builder and a homeowner are really incentivized in the same direction of the city to save that tree. So it makes more sense for them to be able to work within that idea and stay within kind of the spirit of the ordinance there.
I can drive down Fair Oaks Drive or Fair Oaks Parkway, and you can count the number of places that have been clear cut to allow easier building. So I'm not sure that your argument really makes all that, well, theoretically it makes a lot of sense, but I've seen too many clear cuts.
And are those on individual property owners? I mean, to a degree that it's within their property rights to clear property.
Absolutely.
Right. I mean, and that, what all the developer is doing in this case is providing the lots for the homeowners to build houses on, which would be the same as if there was another empty lot in Fair Oaks. I'm not sure, I think they're probably all built out. But if there happened to be an empty lot in Fair Oaks where someone was gonna go buy and build a house on, y'all wouldn't restrict that person from going in and creating a home site and working with those trees. And to be clear, the city to the south doesn't do, I mean, once the home is converted to a single-family residential, like, homeowner, they don't regulate it, you know, what a homeowner can and can't do either. I know, and I'm not comparing them to you guys at all.
And the difference is a little bit of a single-family lot, you're dealing with one particular lot. This is looking at the entire subdivision, and that's why we're looking at holistically to see this. And those ones that, you know, I agree that there are some homeowners that would rather see a pool than a heritage tree. That's unfortunate, it wouldn't be me. And there are some things of, you know, trying to protect in the language that is something to be protected in the future. But you're right, staying within the ordinance, great.
Yeah.
Maybe that's not strong enough for some of these trees to
And, yeah,
ever survive.
And the ordinance and the development agreement, those are all the boundaries that we're working inside of, right? Those are the rules.
The
of
minimum
sandbox.
standards to work with, yeah.
Yeah, those are that's the sandbox that we're working in. Now, what you guys are trying to suggest, I don't know how that works. I always work within the box, the rules and regulations that we've set up, and that, you know, between the development agreement and the ordinance itself. I don't know if what y'all are asking. I mean, maybe that's a question for staff.
Well, we know very well that City Council does not want any clear-cutting rules. They've made that very plain over the years.
Let's go back to, Paul, did you?
I'm sorry, I was gonna comment just real quickly at Fair Oaks Ranch, this body.
He just needs to
Can you
go
hear me?
to the mic.
Excuse me, ma'am. This body did not require, but requested developer in Fair Oaks in Front Gate and in Elkhorn to designate in the deed restrictions heritage trees on individual lots. Therefore, it was disclosed to the builder when they acquired it that tree needed to stay, and so they could make the decision whether they wanted to acquire it or not with that tree. Again, voluntary action, preserved some trees. It's up to y'all. Yes, they can tell you, no, that's not within the ordinance and we're not gonna do it. But y'all do have the authority or purview to ask for that. It worked in the past.
And Mr. Denton is the same developer as Front Gate, Elkhorn, and Setterfield, correct?
I'm not sure.
Don't believe these are the same developers. No.
Anybody else with any comments? They're gonna have trouble building.
Of course.
So with that, I would like to make a motion. Let me get to it real fast. I would like to move to recommend approval to the City Council in support of the Post Oak Subdivision Phase 1 tree removal and preservation plan.
Are you making the motion?
Well, I'm making, can I get a motion?
Okay, that's
Yeah,
different.
I read it. Can I get a motion to, I'm sorry, did I not say that? I'm sorry. Can I get a motion, I'm sorry, to recommend removal of the to City Council in support for the Post Oak subdivision Phase 1 tree removal and preservation plan?
I'll make the motion. We got to talk about it.
Can I get a second? Joe
I'll
seconds.
second so we can have discussion, sure.
Okay,
I was asking, okay.
okay. I open it up for discussion.
Don't second, then the motion, we don't have a motion and we can't vote on it. Pass it.
But we would vote all in favor and then all opposed, and then it wouldn't pass.
I'd rather the motion just failed. But you've already spoke, so we're already there, so.
Yes, so we have a first and a second, so discussion can
It's
ensue.
already done.
Okay. So, discussion?
Ask our lawyer friend over there, what can we and can we not do at this point?
So I would lean more on staff that know the past ordinance. There's no state law requirements on this, and so it's going to be really based on what the ordinance says. I don't know if the past ordinance had a timeline for it. If this was something that was part of the plat, there would be a shot clock, but if it's not something that's done through the platting process, but just sort of individually, there wouldn't be a requirement for a shot clock. So it would be based on what the previous ordinance had stated. So I don't know if staff knows if there's a timeline for this.
I can speak to that. Again, Anthony Bobick. So if the denial by staff of a tree removal plan may be appealed to Fair Oaks City Council, and you have 30 days after the plan has been denied. And then it has to be brought up again at another city council meeting, and the preliminary plat process will be postponed until the appeal has been heard and a decision has been made. Yes,
So-
I will read it again. So denial by staff of a tree removal and preservation plan may be appealed to the City Fair Oaks Ranch City Council if the request for appeal is submitted by the 30th day of the month that the applicant is notified of the plan denial. The appeal will be heard at the next regular scheduled City Council meeting. The preliminary plat process will be postponed until the appeal has been heard and decision rendered. Staff, yes. That's true. We can actually try and get additional comments. We can address some of the comments and send it back to the developer.
Yeah,
That is an option.
I myself would like to send it back to the developer to, now that he maybe understands that we're totally concerned about the trees in Fair Oaks Ranch, and especially this property, and that we are a Tree City USA and have to abide by all of that, that even though it's not in the ordinance and he can do what he wants to do, but we're not pleased with it. And we would like them to go back and see what else they can, what creativity they could put here to save more trees.
So we can move to recommend approval provided that the following conditions are met, just like we did with the preliminary plat process. We can move to recommend approval provided additional conditions are met, just like we did with the preliminary plat process, to make sure that the comments from the developer are then addressed.
I don't think that's what she was getting at. It was the point of that, to have them sharpen their pencil a little bit and see, is there a way to save any more trees? And come back with perhaps a better presentation that describes it with the layers, so that we can more adequately verify ourselves that every effort has been made to save every tree that of substance.
Yeah, I think rather than vote this down, make a motion, vote it down, could staff or the developer withdraw their withdraw the application and resubmit next month with taking into our comments of looking at it differently, showing us some layers, taking into a few other things, because I think if we say no here, then it goes into this appeal process back and forth, where what we want to have is a discussion back and forth and more information, hopefully getting to, a yes.
I think we want it as timely to the developer
Oh, yeah,
with the
absolutely.
information to us, so
Yeah.
whichever works the best.
I don't know if it can be, if we don't act on it, there's no motion.
I would ask
I don't
that
know.
we take a motion of some sort, whether that's of approval or denial to move it to city council for final action, or at least a motion to give direction to staff on what needs to happen. So I would say a motion needs to be made.
So we can make
And a motion already has been made and a second provided, so it's already on the table.
So can we vote it down, and can we vote it to fail and then make another motion?
If
current motion is
If the
what?
commission agrees that, it's in the commission's hands right now because of the second, and that you voiced the motion as the chair. So it's up to the commission to you did it correctly. It's up to the commission to decide whether or not to end the motion. So you can take away the motion, basically.
Okay, so so I just want to make sure I'm doing this right. I have to take a vote to take away the motion
Someone else can make another motion
right now.
to not move forward with this motion.
Okay.
I so do. Then I don't have to repeat the wording.
Bobby makes a motion to
Take,
take away the recommended motion.
Oh, is that it?
Okay,
I can't hear you.
only the person that motion can withdraw.
No,
Yeah.
not anymore. That's not true. Once the second is made and once the second is made and the chair states the motion, then it becomes the motion of the body.
I did.
So now Bobby has made a second motion to remove the original motion, and so we need a second.
I'll second that.
Discussion? All right, I'll call a vote for Bobby's motion. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Bobby's motion has been approved.
So now now the slate's clean.
Correct.
Okay.
No motions are on the table. Okay.
What can we,
That's what we were trying to get to, I think.
can we do at this point?
The second, I wanted that one to fail.
So can I,
Can we go up and say, recommend that the developer go back and sharpen his pencil?
Yeah, I think that's what we
You
need.
can make another motion.
would it be better to make a motion to deny with specific comments and requirements?
So if you deny it, I believe they can appeal it and it'll go to city council, correct? Yeah. So if you deny it or approve it, either way, it's going to go to city council.
But if we deny it, can we, in the motion, can we say a motion to deny? Or do we say a motion to approve and then it just gets denied, but we add comment? I want to be able to append the motion somehow on the record that specifically says we want to see layers, we want to look at this, so it doesn't just get appealed to city council in the exact same way it came. That's what I'm trying to understand how the,
Yeah, do we really have to deny the motion that, because it's no longer on the floor? Can't we just make
Yeah.
a motion to do what you're suggesting rather than
Send back for comments?
to send it back for comments and stuff? So it doesn't have to go to city council yet.
Yeah, so if the ordinance is silent on whether they have to motion for it to be approved or denied, then you can make a motion to have the developer bring it back at another meeting and for y'all to review. Yeah, but y'all are a recommending body, so it can move forward to city council for the final vote as well. And you can make a recommendation for approval with conditions so that city council is aware on why you don't want it, or you can do a recommendation for denial with the reasons why, and then the applicant has the ability to appeal it if they so choose within a certain time frame.
That wouldn't come back to here. That would be an appeal straight to the city council. I guess I'm wondering how we can give
So-
comments to the developer and have it brought back here.
Yeah, so
So
I
you can
would
make a
lean-
motion and request that.
Yeah, and I would also lean a little bit on staff because this is your older ordinances, so I don't have the ability to look at those right now. But I would lean on them to sort of understand if the city has much discretion in sort of what they can do if the applicant meets the code requirements.
So it could be a combination of, we recommend to move this back to staff, them to work with the developer and have the developer make comments.
Yeah, I would recommend if y'all want to postpone it to a date certain and have staff work with the developer and bring it to the next agenda item, if that is what.
I think it's important to be aware that everything that we ask the developer to do at this point is voluntary, because the cherry plan that they submitted meets all of the requirements in the approved development agreement.
Correct.
The development agreement that the city council approved as well.
If it's okay with this body and the chair, I would like to recommend calling a recess for about 20, 30 minutes, have staff go review the ordinance to ensure that we are appropriately and properly doing what you are asking us to do. I want to ensure that there is not a time frame, because if there's a time frame, you must take action. We can't come back. And it will go to council. So I just, if it's okay with you, I'd like 20 minutes to go get my laptop, go read the ordinance, and then we can come back to you and tell you what we can do. And I can confer with legal at the same time,
That's astute, very good.
if that's okay. I don't know if we need a motion to recess, or if you can just call a recess.
You can call a recess.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm gonna call a recess for 30 minutes, and it's 7:42. Thank you.
To me, these are all square.
Yeah, very good.
Welcome back. We're Carol at the podium to,
We have to,
I'm sorry, I opened the meeting back up. And the time is 8:06.
Thank you, P and Z Commissioners. We greatly appreciate the recess. We were able to review our documents, and I'm going to cede the floor to this attorney who will explain the process. So thank you very much.
So city planner with the law firm that y'all employ, Denton Navarro. My name's Amanda Padilla. We reviewed the ordinance that this development is under. So within the development agreement, it is subject to Chapter 10, which was within the code adopted in 2014, I believe. And so while reviewing that, we have found out that the tree removal and preservation plan runs concurrently with the preliminary plat as part of the preliminary plat. So because of that, statutorily, we have to meet the 30-day shot clock. That supersedes the time requirements in Chapter 10 because that is a state law requirement to have the 30-day shot clock be met. Also, upon further investigation, the denial that would cause an appeal is actually if staff was to deny it, not if the Planning and Zoning Commission denies it. So we ask that the board make a recommendation either for approval or denial so that this can move forward to meet that 30-day shot clock requirement.
Thank you. Can I open it back up for discussion, or do we just make the?
Ask for a motion. Excuse me. You'd have to ask for a motion.
Okay, I would like, does anybody want to make a motion?
Can we have discussion before a motion?
No.
No.
So I believe that our motion would be to,
It could either be to approve it based on what's presented, or it could also be a denial because you would like to see X, Y, and Z. Either way, it's still going to move, or a recommendation of denial. Either way, it'll move to City Council. If there are some major concerns, I think it would be helpful for City Council to know what those were, and maybe the developer can also go back and review the plans to try to address those before it gets to City Council.
Can it be approved with conditions that they go take another look?
It can, yeah. But if there's like specific things, I think that would be more helpful. I mean, they would take a look and it would still go to City Council, and City Council wouldn't really know like what your main concerns are. And so I think it would be better to sort of know specifically what your concerns are.
so we could, if we denied it, that would send to City Council that we're denying this, because we would like the developer to take a look at it and see if they could save more trees and bring back layered plot
Yeah.
sheets.
So one thing to consider too is the state requirement for denial of a plat. And so this is running with the plat, and they're requiring this tree preservation plan in order to evaluate if it meets the previous subdivision regulations, is that you need to provide a written statement on what specific sections of code that they are not meeting in order for you to deny it. So my recommendation would be probably to approve it with conditions or ask them to meet certain things before they go to.
Okay, but we as the planning and zoning do not approve or deny, we recommend to council.
Correct, sorry,
Or we
yes,
don't
yes.
recommend to council.
Recommending,
So
not
I would like to, at
Make a
this
motion?
time, make a motion not to recommend it to council, but to recommend that the developer takes those 30 days and looks seriously at redrawing some of the roads in order to save some of the heritage trees. Does that come out?
I'm sorry, may I clarify that motion? Your motion is to not recommend advance to City Council. Is that your motion? I think the motion needs to be, we recommend approval of this plan, or we recommend disapproval of the plan based on the following reasons. I
Okay.
don't think you can deny it going to council. That is the next process. I just want to clarify.
Okay, so we'd recommend,
You could recommend disapproval of the plan
okay,
based on this,
and then recommend
or you can
disapproval.
recommend approval.
My concern
With
is
the
we may not
following
have,
conditions.
we may not have things besides what our intent is to deny it, that the best way to have them come back and sharpen their pencil and look would be to approve with the caveat that they do that. If we deny, we have to have a reason for denial, of
Okay.
which I don't think
And
there
that we
is a
don't have
legal
reason.
reason.
That's right.
So I think the
You're right.
best would be to approve
Approve.
with
Conditions.
the conditions,
Okay.
and then it can go on and they can go back and see if there's a,
That sounds appropriate, yes.
It's not, though, we approve, we can do recommend approval, because the approval comes at the council level. So we can recommend approval with conditions. Okay. Do that, and then add my other wording at the end.
So basically, okay, so what I'm hearing is, we have a motion to recommend approval with conditions that the developer takes 30 days to redraw the roads, to look and
To attempt to redraw the roads.
to attempt to redraw the roads, to save
with the intent to save more heritage
with the
trees.
intent to save more heritage trees. And would we add in there bring back the layered plots of only the trees being removed?
I think that would be helpful to council, but
I don't think we
before you
need
get
a
a,
motion.
fill the motion of, I don't know if I'd put the 30 days and the redrawing of roads, just say that they look at trying to save every heritage tree they can in whichever way possible, as opposed to being so specific to how
Right.
they do that. They look at it holistically to do
Yeah,
that.
because I
that's-
think they look at the holistic picture of the,
And if it means
And it might be
road,
the
if it
lands-
means in the drainage easement area, they look at, they know that our intent is to try to save as many as possible, and that's the thing we put on there.
correct. I totally agree.
Nothing about the timing.
Correct.
Drop that completely.
Timing's gonna be whatever the legal timing is of the process.
Recommend
You don't have to
approval,
state the timing.
requesting that they take another look to mitigate and address all
Words.
possible ways to save more trees. And that leaves it, that's what we're looking for
Yeah,
here,
if possible, right.
if possible.
Okay, so that's the motion.
But shouldn't we put heritage trees
I would say all trees, but focus
as
on
a,
heritage.
as a priority?
You can say priority on heritage trees, but I think, yeah.
Yeah, add the,
Because we
with
know
a priority on the
trees will have to
heritage.
be cut.
Yeah.
You know, if they move the road, chances are there's going to be other types of trees sitting there that have to come down. So just try to
But it
save the
could
heritage.
be, could be a whole nother
Yeah.
way of designing
Yeah.
that land.
Yeah, we need to leave that,
So
To
we
them.
want to leave it open, and I
Leave
understand
that to the engineers over there.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, so can I get,
Can we repeat the motion?
yes, can you please repeat the motion that you?
okay. I'm restating your motion.
It's okay.
We move to recommend approval to the city council, subject to and requesting the developer investigate all mitigation measures for limitation of tree removal, especially heritage oaks.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Any discussion?
No,
Discussion?
but David second, it's
Okay.
okay.
But is there any discussion amongst?
I'm not a lawyer, no.
I'm going to call for a vote, so all in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, say nay. The motion passes.
Good job,
Okay,
good job.
so with that excitement,
Welcome to the chair position.
Sucker.
no more items on the agenda, and the time is 8:16 p.m., and we are now adjourned. Thank you, guys, I appreciate it.
Whoa.
Thank you for sticking with me.
For a girl, her first meeting.